Hey, a couple friends have been asking me to do a cooking video for a while, so I thought I'd try the first one here and see how it works. So I've got some ingredients laid out here. What we're going to be doing is making Mujadara or Mujadara. I've heard it pronounced both ways. My friend who taught it to me called it Mujadara, but I think the more traditional might be whatever. Anyway, here's what we're going to do. Essentially what this is a rice and lentil dish with caramelized onions, cumin for seasoning, and then some yogurt to serve. You could cook this very easily in maybe about an hour, but what we're going to do is we're going to take about half of the lentils for the recipe and we're going to sprout them over the next 5 days. By sprouting some of the lentils, we're going to not only change the flavor profile, add a little crunch to it, but we're also going to be looking at some of the nutrition changing as well for that. So stick with me and I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so the recipe calls for 1 cup of rice and 1 cup of lentils. Since we're going to sprout half of the lentils, that means that we're going to use a half cup of lentils to sprout this, and then we'll use the other half later on in the dish. So what we've got here is we've got a nice wide dish. We've got a paper towel. We're going to put the paper towel in there. Then we're going to take our half cup of lentils, put them in. Kind of shake them out, spread them around a little bit. That looks pretty good to me. Now, we're going to pour water till they're covered. Oh no, they're not all covered because some float. That's okay. We're now going to let them sit like this for a couple of hours. The lentils will start to absorb some of the water. And then later tonight, we're going to pour off the extra. And then we're just going to keep this damp. We'll put another paper towel on after we pour off the extra water. And we're just going to keep them damp for a couple days and watch them sprout. Okay, so here we are at about 2 hours later. As you can see, the water's almost completely soaked up. So all we're going to do now is put another paper towel on top like that, add a little bit of water, keep it moist for 3 or 4 days. Okay, so here we are, morning of the second day, and as you can see, we've got sprouts that are starting. So we're not going to be cooking this for a couple days, so we're going to be putting the lid on and putting this in the fridge. It's still going to sprout a little bit more, which is fine, but we want to slow it down so that we don't have full-grown plants when we try and go to cook this dish. So into the fridge for a couple days. It could stay there up to a week, no problem. Okay, so we're ready to cook it up. We've got our sprouted lentils right here. We've got our dried lentils, our brown rice, and our onion. So we need to think about how we're going to cook this. The brown rice is going to be the longest. On the package it says to simmer that for about 40 minutes. The lentils says for about 20 minutes. It's going to take quite a while to caramelize that onion, but luckily we've got about 40 minutes. So what we're going to do is we're going to get 1 pot of water going. We're going to put the rice in first, and after it's been boiling for 20 minutes, we'll add the lentils for the second 20 minutes or until they get tender. Meanwhile, we'll be sauteing the onion, and then once the onion is sauteed, we'll pull that out. We're going to really quick saute these sprouted lentils up, which are looking lovely. We'll add a little bit of that onion in, stir that in with our cumin spices, then we'll drain these and put them in, give those a quick saute, and then stir the rest of that in. So stick around, let's see what we got. Okay, so I went ahead and cut the onion up. I did about 3/4 of the onion into a rather thin julienne. These are going to be very nice once they get caramelized. And then I kept a little bit of it just into a petite dice. I'm going to saute those in with the sprouted lentils so we get a little bit of complex flavor, 2 different types of just 1 kind of onion. Okay, so we got the onions that we're going to be caramelizing in a pan here with some olive oil. Once those saute down and are clear, we're going to turn the heat down to low and slowly caramelize them over the next 15 minutes or so. Meanwhile, I'm going to get a pot of water boiling. Okay, so we got our pot of water is at a boil. You can see here the onions are nice and sauteed, and I've turned the heat down. We are not taking any shortcuts with these caramelized onions. We're going to go low and slowly caramelize all the sugars in them. We're not going to add any balsamic vinegar, sugar, anything like that. It's going to take a while, but we've got a long time because we've got to cook things like the rice. Remember, we're starting equal parts, 1 cup of rice and 1 cup of lentils, so here goes our 1 cup of rice. And we're going to let that boil and let these keep cook for about 20 minutes. Okay, so we're halfway done cooking the rice based on what it says on the directions for the rice. So now we're going to add in half a cup of lentils. So remember, this recipe calls for 1 cup of rice and 1 cup of lentils in equal parts. But remember, we took half of that of lentils and sprouted it, so that leaves us with half a cup to cook raw. We're going to give that a stir. You can see our onions are on their way. They're caramelizing. The beauty of this recipe is that it gives us the time to do that and really develop those flavors. You might wonder if we measured the water. Nope, we didn't. Because it doesn't matter. Because we're cooking these together, we're going to drain the water and drain this out anyway, so we're not worried about how much water. For those of you that really need measurements, that was about 6 cups. So we'll let these keep going, and by the time those lentils are done, the rice should be done, and this should be done caramelizing. Okay, so our lentils are nice and chewy, our rice is nice and chewy, perfect, and our onions are caramelized about to perfection. So what we're going to do is we're going to be draining this now, and we'll come back and we're going to saute these up and get them all combined. Okay, so we've got our pan heating up. We've got about 2 or 3 tablespoons of olive oil in there. We've got our drained rice and lentils there. We've got our sprouted lentils here. We've got our caramelized onions ready to go, and we've got our cumin. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be dropping in the sprouted lentils first, give them the first little bit, then we're going to add those diced onions that we have that are sitting over there right now, and we'll get them cooking. All right, so here we go. Oh yeah, look at those sizzle. Again, just give them a little bit of a head start, and then in go those onions that I forgot I had on the cutting board. Okay, we're gonna saute these up until the onions turn clear. Okay, so our onions are just starting to turn clear. We're not going to get them all the way down to caramelize because we've got a whole bunch of those. So we want layers of flavor, so we're going to let these be clear. They're about to get clear, so what we're going to do is we're going to add in our cumin. We want to toast this cumin. This is about 2-3 teaspoons. As much as you like, this is the main flavor spice for this dish, so you want to have lots of it. Remember, we're going to be diluting this down with a bunch of brown rice and a bunch more lentils. And so the onion's going to continue to cook, and once that cumin starts to get nice and fragrant, we're going to add that stuff right there. Okay, so we've added our cooked rice and lentils, and we're going to be stirring this around, just giving it good, let some of that extra moisture come off, and then we're going to take about half of this and put into here, and we're going to save the rest of that for a garnish. So stick with me, and we'll have that all plated up here in just a sec. Okay, so here we've got it plated up. You can see we put some of those caramelized onions on top and a generous scoop of that yogurt that we mentioned earlier. Again, that's a plain yogurt, Greek yogurt, plain yogurt. There's a lot of ways you can dress this dish up, but at its heart, it's just these simple ingredients done in ways that produce a lot of flavor. I sprinkled some salt on it right before I put it on the plate. Notice the nothing but the finest kids Tupperware here. Really economical. With the rice and beans, you're getting the lysine from the beans, the methionine from the rice, so you've got a complete protein. Just a really, really simple dish, really yummy. I did a little research, and I'm pretty sure I've been pronouncing this wrong for the last 20 years, but I also did not see any evidence of people using sprouted lentils, so we're just going to call this Lebanese-inspired sprouted lentils and rice. Hope you enjoy.